And we are on. Welcome to Johnny Swoll's Tube, and welcome to another episode of The Game Experience. For those that don't know, and for the new subscribers, slowly getting there, I'd be content with 1,000. It's a good audience for now. But for those that don't know, the game experience is what I like to call, the game being life. I believe that life is a game. And depending on what lens you put on and how you view it, we're almost kind of staring down the barrel of life being a bit of a simulation. And depending on what character you choose to play, can determine the game experience that you have. By choice, by frequency, by vibration, I believe that you can be any player you want in the game. I think that if you want to call society a social experiment, I think that we're kind of conditioned into sort of being programmed to think a certain way, act a certain way, believe a certain thing. And if you unplug from the mainstream and you look at things slightly different, you may see parts of it where it is a bit of an illusion, which it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all propaganda. It's a very bizarre world. So my little journey and my path that I've chose, I've found that by, stepping out of your comfort zone and leveling up a little bit, you get you find out some secrets and get the key to some doors that allow you to level up in the game. So this is the game experience. And today I'm going to share my ayahuasca experience that I had 2 weekends ago. Now, this was the most horrifying, scariest moments of my life. It was the worst. It was like literally being in a Hollywood horror movie. Like, picture that setting. In a barn, 2-story barn, out in the country, no one's around, 40 acres. Got a metal windmill out the front, squeaking, making noise, pumping water out of the ground. 2-story sort of cottagey, barny sort of style home that looks like it's going to blow away with a big gust of wind. The wind kind of blows, but the wind looks fake. We're meant to get to this place between 5 and 7 o'clock. And I rocked up at 5 o'clock. And everything was cool. But if we were to stop this Friday afternoon, just stop it. I pulled up in the car. I finished work. I go to work that day. I pull up in the car, 5 o'clock. If we were to stop that, stop everything, the world stops spinning, all the traffic lights stop, all the cars stop, all the people stop, pause. If we were to pause that timeline, and if we are to live in a parallel universe with multiple variations of realities being played out in various timelines. If we were to stop that timeline right there, right then, and we were to jump into a new timeline, that one's paused and stopped. We've gone into this new one, this new world, this new realm, where something else is about to happen. Picture entering your worst nightmare. Picture entering your worst fears. Picture I can't express how intense this was. I've never encountered anything so scary. But then I've got a question at the same time. Did this really happen? Because I took ayahuasca. One of the most potent hallucinogenics out there. Did it really happen? Well, it did, because 21 people showed up. 16 people left the next day, including myself, because of how much of an ordeal the Friday night was. I shit you not. It was the worst. But taking ayahuasca, the drink, your experience is for you. This is your therapy. And without sitting down with a therapist and explaining to a therapist what's wrong with you, and at the end of your session, the therapist comes up with the answer for you to put everything into play and give you tools to use to better everything, you don't sit down with ayahuasca and tell it all your problems. Ayahuasca goes so deep inside of you and finds it, breaks you down, crumbles you. You experience your own death. You witness your own death. Anything and everything you could possibly imagine comes into play and reality to punish you. And then you come out of it on the other end and you've got all the answers. It's bizarre. Now, I honestly felt like, I stopped into a whole different timeline and a different reality. And as the night got on, the night started to get darker. Now, basically, this is what happened. A storm came through and ripped this place a new asshole. We were outside as a group in this big circle taking ayahuasca, one of the most scariest things you could ever be a part of. It took me 12 months to psych myself up just to even get to this point. Like, I was petrified. I was so scared. DMT came into my life just over 12 months ago. And what they say is that DMT or ayahuasca, you don't go and seek it. Ayahuasca and DMT find you. And last year, DMT found me. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I only scratched the surface. But after that, I was being selfish, and all I wanted to do was get the rewards of it and the benefits of it and going to hyperspace and meeting God and seeing elves and seeing different entities and seeing my spirit God and all this kind of crap. I was selfish. I just wanted the peace and the harmony and all of this sort of stuff. So I scratched the surface with some DMT last year, and then you know what? I'm like, nah, I need to go balls deep. I need to go to the Amazon, and I need to get the answers. But November last year, December, January, February, I just couldn't commit too much because I was scared. And I watched every single ayahuasca documentary that there was to psych myself up, which then kind of kept pushing my trip back to March, April, because I was so scared. I'm like, I'm about to face my worst fears. What if I get trapped in a psychotic spell or into this point of psychosis where I never get out and I go crazy and I end up a part of like the native tribal people in the Amazons and I never come back? And I'm just like, what if? Like, oh God, what if I'm that's it? That's what crosses, steps me over the line and I completely lose my mind. I think that's like anyone's fear, is losing their mind. Like, what if I lose my mind and I end up like those crazy people on the street? So I was scared. And anyway, due to travel restrictions, I didn't go in April. But I managed to get to this retreat. So the timeline that I was living before rocking up stopped. I entered this new timeline, this new realm, this darker realm, this shadow realm, this Hollywood horror setting in this barnish 2-story home, like this squeaky windmill. And this storm is kind of coming over the hills. Now, a wave of people came in and introduced ourselves to a few of them. And kind of at the beginning, 2 groups were formed. There was like, a quarter of the group, say 6 to 8 people that kind of come in, which were their own people, who kind of picked couple rooms and stuff like that. And they kind of, took their sort of side, and some people that carpooled and stuff, and they kind of come in 2s, and that sort of first circle, it was like 2, 2, 2. And it was like kind of like eight people that kind of form this sort of group. And we all kind of introduced ourselves in that sort of part. So like I kind of just huddled into that sort of first group. I was sort of one of the first ones there, but I mean, I huddled into that because I'm like, I've got to get sort of grounded with some people. So a couple of other people showed up, more people come up. And as it started getting darker, more and more people come up. Now, but one of the worst things that could have happened to all this, which really just made it turn horrible, was the fact that the last couple of people that showed up weren't properly introduced to them. And as I get into this, you're going to understand why this kind of mattered. So anyway, so we all take part, we all go outside. We're all there now. We all form this big circle outside. And the circle's big. There's a lot of us. And the shaman gets in the middle and he basically, tells us this thing. He's like, we got this acacia root. I think it was acacia root or the ayahuasca vine or whatever comes from like far north Queensland. And basically, he got one and the first root that he got was not the first root, not the boom boom root. The first root of the tree plant that he got was rotten. So we had to send it back. And that the person that he got it off, something happened and someone was arrested and this other story went involved with it. Now we're getting told this just before we're about to ingest it. So anyway, that's cool. So we all form this circle and he's giving us a bit of a rundown and he's kind of saying to us, look, I'll give you a cup, kick back, chill for an hour and I'll come around. I'll see how you are doing. And if you want more, I'll give you more. And put your glass on the side. So anyway, it kind of goes into saying we're going to go clockwise or anti-clockwise. Now, clockwise, I'm second. Anti-clockwise, I'm second last. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, don't go clockwise. I'm not ready. Anyway, he chooses clockwise. And I'm second. So basically we've got small, medium, large, or Mike Tyson doses. The girl next to me, she chooses hers. She sits back down and she takes it straight away. We get given this piece of apple. I go up. He says to me, how much do you want? I said, I'm shit fucking scared, man. So he gives me, I'm shit fucking scared, amount in my cup, which was like that much. So he did offer small, medium, large Mike Tyson. After tonight or after that night, we've now introduced, I'm shit fucking scared, amount. No ego. There's no hero tonight. You know, I am scared. I am so fucking scared. 12 months. Psyching myself up for this. 12 months. November was my month of cleanse of everything where I'm like, that's it. Like I thought I fought all the demons. I thought I've gone deep. I thought I've done the work. I thought I've done all this, doing ultra marathons, running marathons, doing all this stuff. Like I thought I kept putting in the work. I thought I stepped out of my comfort zone. Like I just always fighting this heaviness, always fighting this something, you know. And start of November, I'm like, I'm going to run a marathon. In the middle, I'm going to take the ayahuasca. And at the end of November, I'm going to do a Spartan beast, 21 Ks, 30 obstacles, where November, this is it. Like after November, that's it. I've done the work. And November and December, I'm going to get rewarded. So that was my plan, you know. So I'm in the middle, I'm in this retreat and I've just got this cup in my hand and I'm like you're here. This is, and I'm like, fuck. What am I doing? I don't want to do this. The guy next to me gets his cup, next person. And I'm watching people, I'm watching how much they get. People are asking for small, people are getting mediums, people are getting large. One girl got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson amount. I got shit fucking scared amount. I don't even think anyone got a small. But I sitting there in my cup and I'm like, what am I doing? Just tip it out. You don't need it. You don't need it. I didn't want it. And this storm was coming over the top. The storm was coming in. And we kind of got around the circle and I was kind of sitting there a little bit and I kept looking at my cup. I kept picking it up and looking at it. I'm like, I don't have that much. Like what? Does the shaman know something that I don't? Does the shaman know that I'm probably going to be the one that's going to be the worst? And, you know, my biggest fears are going to come out and he knows like, so he's just giving me the small amount. Like, does he think I'm crazy? And I'm like, this is bullshit. Why did he give me this much? I'm like, fuck this. I was going to tip it out. And something got over me and something just went, poured half of it down my throat. And it wasn't that bad. Everyone says it tastes like shit. It's the most vile taste. And I waited. Something picked up my elbow. I had no control. I didn't want to take it. I couldn't even do that. Something had to go pour it down my throat. Anyway, I took it. I was a little bit unsure about putting the glass next to me because I'm like, I was at the bottom of these stairs and the people were going to go to the toilet and come down the stairs. It's getting dark. I'm like, people are going to trip over the glass, cut themselves. I'm at the bottom of the stairs. People are going to go mid-trip and probably like freak out and stuff like that. So anyway, I've ingested this stuff. I took the cup inside and I've just started sitting back in my beanbag. And we're about 10 minutes in, 15, 20 minutes in. And this storm's coming over. The storm's starting to brew. That there's lightning in the clouds, but there's no noise. But you can see when the light brights up that you can see the darkness and the thickness of the clouds. Now it's becoming dark, a little bit windy, raining a little bit. The shaman goes, the storm's coming, but it's just going to skim us. It's all happening over there. Bullshit. That storm was coming, man. That storm was coming. Not only was it coming, it was going to rip a new asshole in this place. Mother Nature. When I said that timeline stopped, when I pulled up and this new timeline started and like this darkness shadow, Mother Ayahuasca, what they say, what they talk about, the spirit of Mother Ayahuasca hijacked the system and taught us all a fucking lesson. Mother Ayahuasca almost went, okay. Yeah. You city folks think you can come out to the countryside and drink this drink and get healed? Not under my watch. You selfish little humans. I'll teach you a lesson. Mother Nature increased the storm dramatically. The wind picked up. The rain started to come. That was it. It was fucking on. Everyone started getting a little bit uncomfortable because we knew that this storm was coming through. And we've just ingested ayahuasca. And we're like, what the fuck have we gone and done? Because we're no longer going to be outside anymore. I'm trying to relax in my beanbag. Next minute, this cracking thunder happens. And I go, nah, I'm out of here. I get up. I put my beanbag in this sort of sunroom. And then I go in the lounge and a couple of other people walk into the lounge room. But like getting this sort of overwhelming feeling because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I didn't know if demons and devils were going to pop up and whatever. So I go back out into the sunroom. I go to sit on the beanbag. I'm like, no, I'm too isolated. I'm too alone. So then I go back out kind of to the circle. We're all moving around. We're all a little bit like, what's going on. Next minute, you just hear, bleh! Someone's purging. But it's not like someone's purging. It was like the most painful, horrific, vomit purging sound. Like it was like that. One by one, people were getting picked apart. And I'm just like, fuck it. Next minute, this girl. Now look, the storm is brewing heavily, right? The thunder's starting to come. It's raining. This storm's not just going to fucking skim us. We're going to get in the middle of this storm, almost like the severity of how bad Wizard of Oz was when the house got blown away in the storm. Like that was almost like the setting. Like we're about to go in the home and the wind and the storm was so bad, it was going to blow the fucking house away. It was brewing. Next minute, this girl screams. Ah! Worse than that. She screams in like horror. We're like 30 minutes, 40 minutes in. Ah! Like that. She's screaming. She is fucking screaming in horror. like someone is getting a knife and stabbing her in the stomach. She's screaming in fear, in terror. Ah! Ah! I'm sorry if that's too much, but that's how it went. Next minute, her and this dude was top and tailing. And this dude just goes, "Whoa!" People are purging. She's, "Ah!" This guy's, "Ah!" Like that. That's what's going on. I go back to when the shaman said, yeah, we got it from far north Queensland, and the first lot was rotten, and we had to get this new batch. And then she dubbed her husband, and he got arrested. And I'm thinking, what the fuck has this guy done? What has this shaman done? What has he given us? One by one, people were getting picked apart. The storm's coming over, brewing, bad. We're all about to die. This windmill's making this weird, creepy fucking noise. It was like this darkness shadow. It was like a Hollywood dark horror movie. We were in the set. Again, I pulled up. That timeline stopped. We went into this new portal, this new dimension, this new time in whatever, space and time, this twisted, dark version of a dimensional world. That's where we were. In this bubble of almost like everyone was going to die that night and only one person was going to survive. And that one person that survived was probably going to end up in a mental institute in a fucking straitjacket for all of their time. That was the vibe. Probably not going to be me in the mental ward. Hopefully I would have be whisked away in the wind. It probably would have been a better outcome. But this was getting intense. This girl was screaming in horrific agony, traumatic fucking pain. This dude is uncontrollable, getting up, bouncing around, moving around. Ah! What is this stuff? There's something inside of me. Oh, my stomach, what is this? What is this? Get it out! Get it out of me! Get it out of me! That's what he was doing. Exactly like that. I'm giving it justice. He was probably worse. What is this stuff? Get it out of me. Oh, there's something inside. Why isn't this happening to anyone else? The demons were coming out of these two. I was fucking scared. I'm like, what have I taken? What have I done? Get it out of me. Everyone's purging one by one. The storm's coming through. This gust of wind and the rain just picked up, just went woof, came through, tore this place apart. The wind, the rain, the storm, the thunder, everything come through on a scale of 0 to 10. This motherfucker was a 50. Mother Ayahuasca, Mother Earth was like, you know what, you city slicker kids. Come out here in the countryside drinking my juice. I will show you what's up, motherfuckers. I will show you who's boss. I will show you who's in control. You are not in control. You're in my world. She taught us all a lesson that we have no control in life. I had no control. I was in the middle of nowhere on 45 acres out in the countryside with 20 strangers, all taking ayahuasca, the worst hallucinogenic known to man, the most horrible experience, the most tremendous, terrifying experience, the most worst thing you could possibly do in the middle of a horrific storm. I've got this stuff in my stomach and I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get this out of me? Started to freak out. I started to panic. I shit you not, that girl was screaming in horrific pain. That dude was up, he was doing 360 somersaults, running around, just taking off. It was dark. He took off in one direction where there's a fence. He would have just been, he would have bounced off the fence. He would have been bouncing off everything. He stumbled upon. He got up and he just took off. 360 somersaults, rah, like throwing everything up, rah, like rolling around outside everywhere. A couple of us all went inside. I went inside. I sat on the lounge and the beanbag's still out in the sunroom. There's two Indian Sri Lankan dudes here. There's a dude next to me. He's like got his hand over, and the vibe was set for everyone. Everyone was like, I can feel it. Everyone was like, what the fuck did they give us? And we hope that we don't end up like those two possessed demons outside. There's this girl over in the corner and she says, she goes, is it me or is there a girl screaming outside? And I go, there's a fucking girl screaming outside. She goes, is she okay? And I'm like, fuck, this girl must be coming up onto a trip. I'm like, yeah, she's had the ayahuasca, remember? She doesn't sound okay. Is anyone attacking her? We're like, no. Like, she's fine. She's just stuck in it. Should we go and help? I'm like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going anywhere near those fucking demons. I'm staying here. I was freaking out. There's two possessed demons outside. The girl fucking screaming in ultimate terror. The shaman comes fucking running inside. He goes, I need help. Is anyone sober? I was sober because I only had scared fucking shitless amount. I was okay. I could have helped. Man. I was not going anywhere outside, anywhere near that dude, anywhere near that girl. I was going nowhere near those demonic motherfuckers. I was staying here where I felt comfortable and safe. This storm come through and blew the fucking place apart. I'm telling you, blew the place apart. Wind was just gushing through the place. The storm, the rain, the thunder, everything was on a scale of 0 to 10. It was at a 50. We just ingested this ayahuasca about an hour in, an hour and a half in. This girl's still screaming in horrific agony, terror, pain, like she's being murdered. The dude's still doing fucking somersault 360s outside. Why isn't this happening to anyone else? What is this? What did you give me? Who are you? Literally like that. I shit you not. Next minute, this girl over here, she goes, my dog's outside. I'm like, what? There's fucking no dogs here. I'm like, this is fucked. This is fucked. She's like, my dog's outside. I go a little close to her and I'm like, I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, if you were the person and I think you are, I think I know where you were. But if you're the person and I think I don't know where you are, we're over the other side of the circle near those possessed demons. I ain't going over there if that's who you are. If you were that person over here next to me, I know where your stuff was. I might be able to get your dog. But I ain't going to the other side where the demons are. I'm staying here. Anyway, she got up and she took off outside. She went to go get a dog. It was in an urn. I'm like, fuck, man, am I tripping or what? Like, what the fuck? She takes off, gets a dog, comes back. Next minute, there's this dude who's just walked in. And he sits down on the floor. Now, there's these two Indians, and I'm like trying to keep composure. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, fuck, man. Like, I don't want to be like them outside. This is fucked. The whole setting was just shit, man. The storm was so bad. There's this Sri Lankan dude sitting here. And he shoots up. He's like sitting upright. And I'm just sitting in my beanbag, and I've like got all of this stuff on. I've got all my yoga gear on. And I'm like, stay calm. Stay calm. You've got this. Don't surrender. Resist. Just resist. Ride it out. You had I'm scared fucking shitless amount. That's not that much. If you can just hold this and ride this, you'll be all right. You'll be okay. There's a dude in front of me. He sits up. He's like, Artem! Oh, Artem! Oh! The girl goes, what is that? What's he saying? The Sri Lankan dude's curled up. Goes, oh, it's okay. It's okay. He's just saying I'm sorry. He's just saying I'm sorry for talking. I hope everyone's okay. And he's like, oh, Artem. Oh, Artem. He's like that right in front of me. And I'm just like, bullshit, he's saying that. This girl's like, oh, that sounds so cool. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Anyway, he gets up and I'm like, fuck this, man. And I pick my shit up. I go to the other side of the room. I get in the corner and I just sit down. He starts moving around. He tries to come up next to me. Bro, just fucking back up. The crazy dude from outside, he's now starting to come in. He's fucking like that. He's shadow boxing in the hallway. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Everyone's coming up off this trip. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. It's fucking stormy. I'm scared. There's fucking psychotic people everywhere. The fucking demons are out. What the fuck? Fuck this shit. Fuck ayahuasca. Fuck it all. Fuck it. What have I done? This dude starts to come in, shadow boxing, fucking kung fu kicking shit. And he goes up towards his mantelpiece and just fucking starts shaking it. Artem's moving around and getting close. And I'm just like, people better fucking back the fuck up. Get the fuck away from me. I'm like, fuck this shaman, man. This shaman has just fucking lost all control of this place. The girl's still screaming outside. The girl that needs a little dog and the one that fucking whatever, saying that fucking Artem's a fucking beautiful fucking language, whatever. She's like, that girl that's screaming outside needs help. She's getting sexually abused. Somebody needs to go out there and help her. Then she goes, are the cops here? Because if not, they should be. Anyway, this storm is brewing so bad that the demonic dude from outside that's just come in shadow boxing, fucking karate kicking the fucking hallway. I go up to him, I'm like, dude, calm the fuck down and sit down. You're putting everyone on edge. And he's like, oh, fucking, like, you know. I sit him down. Upstairs is howling. Water's pissing in. I'm getting sprayed with fucking water. The water's so heavy from the storm that it's coming through downstairs. I run upstairs and there's nobody up there. The lights are on and I'm like, fuck. Now we're about an hour and a half, 2 hours in and I've took ayahuasca, the worst hallucinogenic possible. And I'm upstairs thinking that a gremlin is going to jump out of the fucking wardrobe and oogada boogada. Again, that old lie stopped and paused. We entered this new vortex, this new dimension, this new world, this new dark, shadowy experience. It was like a movie scene. The setting was like a movie scene. All the windows in this top level were all open and I had to try and shut them. The wind was blowing me over. The fly screens were shut, but then outside of the fly screens were the windows. I've never seen anything like this in my life. They weren't normal windows and fly screens. I had to open this fly screen up, dive outside, reach around, grab the window from outside and then pull that closed and then shut the fly screen and shut it all the way around this top level, doors, windows, everything. While I'm doing that, I'm sort of coming up onto the ayahuasca. Like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the reality change, everything shift. I'm waiting for a gremlin to jump out of the wardrobe. I'm waiting for a fucking anaconda to just suck me up and eat me and whatever. While I'm shutting these windows, the wind was so bad that I'm like, if one of these glass panes breaks and smashes, which it's a possibility that's going to, glass is going to shatter and cut my face, and I'm going to be cut open. I'm going to probably have a panic attack. There's going to be blood everywhere. I'm going to fucking freak out. I'm already freaking out. I'm like, I don't need this shit. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. God damn it. What have I done? What am I doing? I managed to shut all the windows. Upstairs, I saved the day. I felt like a little bit of a hero. Downstairs, I could have been a bit of a hero and saved that girl, but there was no way in the world I was going anywhere near those two demonic people. Anyway, I go downstairs and everyone's moving, everyone's scattered, everyone's hallucinating, everyone's tripping, everyone's vomiting, the storm's just ripping shit out of everywhere. The storm is so intense. Thunder, rain, wind, 20 people on ayahuasca, hallucinating, tripping balls. One of them having a severe panic attack where the shaman freaks out and says, we need to get this girl out of here and get her to the hospital. There's another guy that's fucking flipping out, doing somersaults, backflips, cartwheels, shadow boxing in the hallway. There's something inside of me. Get it out. There's a dude in the kitchen lying down on the floor thinking that outside there's demonic entities out there and he needs to save everyone and save himself. He gets a fucking kitchen knife. He goes to go outside and protect everyone. The shaman's fucking maid's like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, oh, I'm trying to save us from the demons. He goes, give me the fucking knife back. All of this shit is going on. I go and sit back on my beanbag and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? I'm thinking, thank fuck I never went to the Amazon for this shit. This is shit. Like, fuck this shaman, man. Fuck this place. Fuck ayahuasca. I don't need that shit. I don't want that shit. What the fuck was I thinking? This is dumb. This is stupid. Get me the fuck out of here. Tomorrow morning, I'm hopping in my car and I'm going to be that guy that does a burnout all the way up the driveway, rips all the dirt up everywhere, goes onto the road, does burnouts all the way up the road and just flees the place and never looks back. That was me the next day. I am fucking out of there. We're 2.5 hours, 3 hours in. Girl's still screaming. The dude's gradually calmed down. He's now in the kitchen. The storm's easing up a little bit. I kind of look outside the window. I've seen a car. I've seen a light. I've seen a couple of lights. I've seen one that was white. I've seen one that was red. I've seen one that was blue. And I'm like, what the actual fuck, man? That's the police? The police are here? The motherfucking police are here? I sit on my beanbag, I'm like, what the fuck? What? No fucking way. The police are here? I'm like, I can't handle this, man. From where they were outside the window, go up the road 150 meters, there's the entrance to the driveway. Go down the driveway for about 150, 200 meters. That's where everyone's car's parked. From there, 50, 100 meters to the door. Overall, about half a K. I'm thinking, right, I've got about fucking 2.5 minutes. What do I do? Do I get up and fucking run? Because I can run. Do I leave? What do I do? What do I do? I'm thinking, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Do I leg it? Do I hide? Do I find a spot and hide? Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Thinking, what do I do? I've got 2.5 minutes. What do I do? I'm like, okay. Time it out for them. If nothing happens in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that means that they're still outside. They're calling back up. Now, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's probably only a couple of cop cars. So if they get some coppers from the bigger towns, you know, with maybe 6 cop cars, 8 cop cars, and it's going to take about an hour and a half. I'm thinking, right. So 20, 30 minutes, if nothing's happened, that means that they've called for backup. Then what's going to happen? All the police are all going to come in, arrest us. Freeze, you're all under arrest. Take us all down to the police station. They're going to question me, talk to me. I'm going to be stuck in this ayahuasca trip, not knowing anything, not know how to talk, speak, whatever. And like, fuck, like this is going to be a long weekend. Like this is not over tonight. Like this is going to go into Saturday, into Sunday. I probably won't get out till Monday, Tuesday. I think, fuck, I've got work to do. I've got jobs to finish. I'm like, what? Like everything's over. I'm thinking, what if one of these police officers just rocks up, starts recording, puts us on like this country Facebook group, you know, like my vehicle's outside, and what if a client sees it on Monday, and I'm just having all these flashes of like, my life is fucking over. Like, what have I done? The police are here. We're all taking ayahuasca. I didn't know if it was illegal, if it wasn't. Ayahuasca isn't illegal. The DMT in ayahuasca is illegal, but ayahuasca isn't, thank God. What we were doing wasn't illegal. But I didn't know. I'm thinking, police officers being police officers, they just come in and kick the door down and you're all under arrest. And I'm like, my life is over. Like my work vehicle outside is going to be on the news. Client's going to see it. My life is over. All that cockiness that I express and all of this stuff that I try and, you know, preach and represent, and talking about life's a game and leveling up and all these things that I do that can be taken as cocky and whatever, like how I carry myself on Instagram, like all of the, I'm like, this is my downfall. Everyone falls. This is me falling. I'm like, my life's over. Like, fuck this. And I'm just like, I started to get, like, I kept having these moments where I'm like, did the storm actually happen? Is everyone else cool? Everyone's having their own experience. But yes, the storm actually happened, and this is all happening. Like, I just resisted. So I'm like, I'm getting overwhelmed. I've got anxiety. I just kind of like go, fuck. Next minute, like the police come in, and the police start talking to this girl, asking this girl questions. Now, the girl outside that was screaming and stuff like that, the police actually thought that they were coming to a murder scene because of how bad the girl was screaming. So somehow neighbors called up. The shaman didn't think it was that bad because the shaman thought that the girl screaming would be hidden under the thunderstorm. So that goes to show how bad she was screaming and how bad the thunderstorm was. That the shaman thought, no one's going to hear because of the thunder. We're on 45 acres. Someone complained and said, there's a girl getting raped and murdered. The police thought they were coming to a murder scene. Police officer comes in and asks this girl, I hear her whispering, how much ayahuasca have you had? Where's the ayahuasca? Who served the ayahuasca? I think this copper comes and does the rounds. I'm like, what am I going to say? I just go, fuck it, pretend you're asleep. I like kick back on my beanbag, and I'm just like, come on, man, calm down. Like, just nothing's happened yet. It's all cool. But within me, I'm thinking this has got to get worse. It can't get better because the police are here. This is out of my hands. This is not controllable. And this is what I got out of ayahuasca. This was my therapy. This was what the experience that and the teachings that ayahuasca gave me. Now it's about like almost, we started drinking at 9 o'clock and this was about 12:30. Police got there at about 20 past 12 and it was about quarter to 1. 12:30, quarter to 1. And this is what I got out of it. That we're not in control. And for me to have that quick glimpse of my life, everything being taken from me, was the answers that I need to say that you don't need ayahuasca right now and you don't need the teachings of ayahuasca right now because you've already put in the work. You've already fought depression. You've already battled addiction. You've been sober for 20 months. You don't drink. You've put in the work. You don't need to go deep right now. You don't need the inner work right now. Like this has taught you that I'm where I'm at. And I need to be appreciative of what I've got because I almost just lost it. I need to acknowledge the fact of where I've come to. So my lesson out of that was, yeah, right, I have gotten somewhere, So it's almost like all the negative thoughts and all the bummed out feelings and all the things, like it was my lesson, and what was shown to me was I've come way too far for all of this to be gone and that I am not in control. And for the only thing that I can be in control of, that basically whatever I am in control of is the real decisions that I have to make by possibly consequence. So like tomorrow or the next day, I can leave. I don't have to be here for another night because I've out of my control, the police turned up and my whole life could have been taken from me because this girl had an overreaction from ayahuasca and it could have all been taken from me because of everything that was out of my hands. But tomorrow night, I'm going to be in control and I'm going to choose to leave because I don't need the inner work right now. I don't need ayahuasca right now. The 12 months that I was searching to take ayahuasca and everything I've learned on it, I faced my fears. I went head to head with my fears. I faced my demons, my darkest fears, going deep within inside myself, taking ayahuasca, one of the most potent things that you could quite possibly do. I went deep within inside of myself and nothing came up. I never faced my demons. I never faced my fears. I didn't go possessed like those others. I didn't purge. I didn't vomit. There was nothing negative that had to come out of me. I've already done the inner work. That's everything I got out of it. And I felt like this whole weight being lifted off my shoulder, like anxiety, depression. The week after that, like I feel like someone's lifted this heavy weight off my shoulders. And I can't wait to do ayahuasca again. But let me continue with this. So the police eventually leave because the girl comes to. And this is what happened. The girl's face down outside and the police standing over the top of her. And she shoots up and she goes, "Whoa, what a ride. What a ride, man. Woo." The shaman's like sitting down on the chair and the copper and the chick copper that's there and they're going through all the questions. But they were like picking her apart because they wanted her to say, yeah, like I was sexually abused and these men done this. But she was like, the shaman was like, tell them what happened. Tell them what happened. Tell them, tell them your experience. And she was going through an experience. Anyway, so the police officers left. And, in terms of male to female ratio, there was probably as many females as males. And there was definitely there was definitely nothing that happened inappropriate because, the demons were outside and, all the males were inside and the girl was safe. And she was just screaming because of her ordeal. And her ordeal was this. She had been vegan for a couple of weeks. And what she did was she went to the meat industry So all sense of her physical body in that ceremony had left. She wasn't in that circle. She'd gone. She went to infinite space and time, and she was with God. And she was with time and space within itself in that consciousness and that presence of God. She was that. She was all that one. That's where she was. Her visuals were of the meat industry and the horrific slaughter of all the animals in the meat industry. So she was screaming because she was that. She was reliving their pain of the animals. She was screaming. And when she was screaming, help me, she was screaming, help me, to say, help her fix the problem of the meat industry, not help her in this external world environment in the ceremony, not help her fix the problem of the meat industry and the slaughter of the animals. She was going through that. But within that, the next day I spoke to her and I picked her apart a little bit because I wanted to know some answers. And again, like I've studied ayahuasca for like 12 months leading up to everything because I was scared of it. So I know the ins and outs. I know what it brings up. I know PTSD and past traumas and stuff like that get stuck. Like I understand subliminal programming. I understand your subconscious mind. I understand the consciousness. I understand, a lot of things. And I knew that she was young and she didn't really understand what had happened to her because I don't think she understood what she took. Anyway, I was picking her apart and basically, she's, I think 23, 24, something like that. When she was 21, she went through this phase of her life where she went through stages of self-harm and suicide and antidepressants and taking tablets. That was what else she was bringing out. That was what else she was reliving. All of these past traumas, all of these things she was getting out of her. The guy that was screaming, doing the backflip somersaults, that was the crazy possessed demonic demon shadow boxing in the hallway. He was an army veteran. He was only a young guy and he went to Afghanistan and he served. And he had all these pains in his stomach all throughout that week. And he was getting out all of his army PTSD. He didn't even hear the girl scream. He didn't even know where he was. He didn't know what he was doing. He knew nothing. He didn't even hear the girl scream. But he was bringing up all of his PTSD, all of the trapped trauma from being in the war of Afghanistan. Again, ayahuasca chooses the work for you. Ayahuasca chose my work. There was other people that I never really got to talk to afterwards properly because I think they took a lot. And again, I'm fucking scared amount. I'm fucking shit scared amount. I only had that much. Other people had more. But, the next day I kind of spoke to people, the sun come out, it was just like, come to. And, I'm like, I'm going to stay tonight. I got up. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've heard all these other stories and it's always the first time that's shit and, da-da-da-da-da and all of this other stuff. And, there was other people that were just vibing differently, And the latecomers were the ones that had the bad experiences because they knew nothing about ayahuasca. They just ingested it and they had like a large. They shouldn't have had that much. And because they came at like 8, 9 o'clock and it was dark, we never got introduced to them. If we got introduced to them and the circle was a lot better and, we knew who these people were because we didn't. So a lot of us were scared because we're like, we don't know if people are going to just get a kitchen knife and stab themselves to get out of this experience. Like, because if people understand what ayahuasca does, you don't know, you lose, like, you're uncontrollable. Like that guy was uncontrollable. No one could control him. He was running around in circles. And because there was only one shaman and everyone else was stuck in the ayahuasca, well, he was out to fend for himself. And he was when I got him in the hallway, when I'm like, dude, sit the fuck down. Like, just calm the fuck down. Like, it wasn't my job to be his guide. But at the same time, I didn't want to have to fucking go into protect myself mode and go crazy, because I would have fucking just strangled someone and just been like, leave me alone. Like, it was not the scene or the environment. And speaking to people the next day, like I spoke to one guy, and his name was Jonathan, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're leaving. He's like, yeah. I'm like, tell me why. And he just said, you know what? He's like, this shaman here, he goes, I understand he probably knows what he's doing, but, last night he lost control. And I'm like, dude, a fucking storm came through. Like, of course, maybe if the storm didn't happen. And he's like, yeah, but, those two people shouldn't have had that much. And I'm like, you know what, man? And I'm talking to him, and I'm just picking all this information out of him just to get my own answers. Cause I'm like, I'm in the middle. I'm like, do I leave or do I stay? And I knew that if I stayed, I would have had the best night, and I would have battled it, and coming out of it would have been everything I've worked towards. But there was kind of whispers of a couple of other people that might have showed up. And, we're talking to this dude. I'm like, if other people show up not knowing about what happened the night before, then it can't be. Like, you're stepping into the unknown. You don't know. And it's all about setting. The setting has to be right with ayahuasca. It's you have to be comfortable with people. You have to know people. You have to know that you're in safe hands. And we weren't in safe hands the night before, because everyone scattered. Everyone just fucking broke free of the circle. Everyone panicked. Everyone went outside because everyone was in fear of getting possessed and demonic like the other two. And, the shaman at the beginning telling us about the ayahuasca root was rotten, and he had to hand it back, and the story attached to it. Like, we had no idea what we took. And it's a similar story to everyone. Everyone goes, damn it. Like, what if I've had a bad batch? What if I don't know what I took? Like, what is, I don't know nothing. And you go through all this motion. So I said to Jonathan, I'm like, you know what? I've got the answers I need. I'm going to bail too. I'm going to go as well. And I didn't leave straight away. I just kicked back, and a couple of other people kind of admitted that, that they were going to go, and they didn't know if they were going to show up. But 21 people turned up Friday night, and 16 people left. Only 5 people stayed on for the Saturday one. And I spoke to one of the girls, how'd that go? And she said it was great. And it probably was going to be, and I should have stayed, but again, my lesson out of that was I'm not in control. And for what I can be in control of, I'm going to choose to leave. Because last night, my life nearly got taken from me. And I don't want to have that experience ever again. Like, I have a goal, I have a plan, and I've set something out. I'm on this 77-day sort of path, or this 77-day challenge, where I'm kind of up to day 60, and I've set all these tasks and goals out for myself. And, middle of December, they're all going to sort of be rolled out. And I'm just like, by this one choice of staying on this Saturday night, and if anything like that was to happen again, like, everything I've just worked towards is gone. And the police showing up, the fucking paramedics showed up. Like, it was horrendous. There was people there that were scared. But I ended up driving off, no burnouts, calmly, comfortably. And, again, like, I got this whole weight lifted off my shoulders. Where that timeline paused on Friday afternoon, it pressed play and continued to play out. But we went there, but Jesus. That's all, folks. But we did enter this different portal in time that night. I believe so. And, like, with the storm and stuff, like, another thing too, the Arkham dude, Like I kind of separated and I went into this little lounge room bit and I was talking to this dude and kind of coming out of it when the stage of the trip now I should have been seeing unicorns and peace and happiness and love and light. I should have been in that stage, but I just was on edge because like I wasn't calm until everyone else was calm. But Artem sat on the lounge and he flung his head right back and he just looked straight at me with these piercing eyes. And he's like, Jonathan, are you okay? And I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, how do you know my name? And it was very bizarre. And I'm like, the whole night, I'm like, did it actually happen? Was the storm really that bad? Was that setting really like, was that just my trip? Like, could it have been any different? But no, like the storm happened. The girl freaked out. The dude freaked out. Everyone else freaked out. The police came. The ambulance came. So weird. You know, one girl was dancing outside in the rain. She put her headphones in, sat behind a lounge on a beanbag out in the balcony, had no idea what happened. Another guy hopped in his car, no idea what happened. Another person went in these other rooms by themselves, no idea what happened. I say the two people the girl that had the crazy experience, she had no idea what happened. The dude that had his Afghanistan moment relived, he had no idea what happened. There was another dude, another girl, myself, two Indians, Artem, this one girl. So I'd probably say 8 to 10 max were a part of that scene, was a part of that environment. Others just bailed and went elsewhere. But it was intense. You know, and next time if I ever go for a 2-night ayahuasca, I'm going to take a medium. I'm going to take a medium. I don't even think I'll take a Mike Tyson. If I go to Peru, I will. So how it all works out is the first night you have like a specific part of ayahuasca, and then the next night you have this other part called the Arcasian root or whatever, which is more visuals. So you don't go into the dark terror sort of stuff. Or you don't go deep. So yeah, next time, medium, maybe go a large with the visuals. But I did have some sort of not hallucinations. I did shut my eyes at 1 minute and it was like I was on a speedway with like this dragster theme sort of spirals, but that was only for a couple of seconds. I remember once I opened up my eyes and my legs were sort of bent, like crossed on the beanbag, but my leg was like rubber. I remember that. And I went, oh shit, better not stand on that. It'll buckle. And then I remember like looking at some people too. And like, if you look at the arms or a leg, like you just get like this dark patch where it was like empty. So that was kind of some of the only visuals I got, but it was definitely, they were dark. It was definitely dark. So, but yeah, look, I feel somewhat healed. You know, every day is sort of like a challenge. I'm always fighting something, always fighting that urge of excuses and, you know, being lazy and stuff like that. But, you know, that's the game. And every day's a fight. And you just got to keep on the grind, you know, just don't slacken off. Don't get sloppy. Don't get lazy. And don't get trapped in the system, you know? So, but anyway, that was my ayahuasca. I hope you stuck around and got to listen to it all. I was actually going to do a second video of what I got out of it, but I've included it in this. But I might talk about that separately and just put it in a smaller video because not everyone's got time to listen to me ramble on for over an hour. So yeah. So till next time, people. Cheers.